Hi, I'm Dick Robinson. I'm 62 years old and I've lived in Norfolk my entire life. It's been my hometown, and my family and grandparents first came here in 1908.
Great.
I'm Maggie Robinson, and I'm 7 years old, and I've lived in Norfolk since I was 6 weeks.
And I'm Arnie Robinson. I'm Maggie's dad.
My grandfather came to the United States shortly after the turn of the century, the 1900 century, Maggie, not the 1800s. And he headed west. He was an immigrant, came through Ellis Island like millions of other Americans. And when he was kept going west. He wanted to be a trader, and back in those days you traded in furs and hides and metals and everything. And the real deep down reason he stopped in Norfolk is where he ran out of money. Couldn't go any farther west. That was it. And that's how my grandfather came there. Started a little business, grew. Depression just about wiped him out. Grew through that. My father served in World War II in the Army Air Corps. Had two interesting posts. England, which probably wasn't always the best place to be, and the other thing, they sent him to Harvard for a year on management, to learn management skills. After the war, we one by one got out of the hides and furs, and I sold our last scrapyard back in the 80s, and now we're one of the largest steel service centers in the United States. My father passed away in 1974, and my mother passed away in 2000. My dad died when they were on holiday in Arizona, and I was actually going to school in Arizona. And I told my mom after the funeral, I think I'll come home. I can get out. I'm done going to school. I'm going to come home and help you. She said, you can come home, but if you don't have a degree, don't come to work. And she said, you're not welcome until you have a degree. So education has always been very, very important in our family. So, yeah, my mom was there. My mother, it's a really good name, Margaret, was the first woman elected to the University of Nebraska Board of Regents, which we're very, very proud of. Yeah. And so education is always important in our family and a lot of things we do. Some of our charities are education-based. We just think that you got to give everybody a good education to move forward.
I was really fortunate. My parents set a rule for us, is they wanted us to go get experience somewhere else and know a little more before we made a decision whether we were going to come back into the business. So I knew I needed to go do something else before I ever wanted to get in the business, and I think that was great for coming back and actually having some experience, having some knowledge, maybe picking up a few scars along the way before I came back to Norfolk and got into the business.
Anything with youth. I think the future of Norfolk is our youth. We've got to have things, from having a wonderful YMCA, which we've always supported, to helping the softball and baseball fields and the recreation facilities. Anything we can do with children and youth where they get a great start in life, it just pays off many-fold down the thing. We also have been very involved in economic development. You know, as a city, you know, you can't stand still. You have to move forward or you're going to get passed. And we want our city to be vibrant and growing so other people want to move here. You want to give people a reason to move here, not a reason to stay away. You know, families have been here for a long time. We've done, you know, we've all grown with the community. We've gone up and down, and mainly up with the community, but you owe the community, you know. We have a little bit of a debt to keep repaying constantly to our community for giving us a place to nurture our startup business, giving us a place for our families to grow and be strong. So you owe a little bit to give back.
Just being able to go to the Panther games with my friends, going to state tournament,
Riding your horse?
riding my horse here, having all the great stuff that's in Norfolk.
Well, I think a lot of it is the people growing up in Norfolk, and I think that's the connections you make and the different relationships and how they evolve. I mean, why is Norfolk great? It's about our people. But as you get away from Norfolk, there's a certain connection that people from Norfolk have, and you can't get away from it. And that's probably one of the great things, whether you're in Lincoln or Omaha or Kansas City or wherever. it seems inevitable there's some connection comes back to Norfolk. So as I think about the great things of growing up in Norfolk, it's being a part of that community and those connections are made.
Remember that the greatest testament to the Norfolk Police Department, of all things, is actually, I was fairly young. I was probably been back in town 5 or 6 years after college, and I was asked to be on the Civil Service Commission. I said, sure. And Civil Service hires the police. I thought, this will be great. The first week I'm on it, I got a speeding ticket going to work and one coming home the same day, never driving more than 2 miles in the city. So I knew right then that Norfolk stood for, you know, there is no favoritism. Yes.
I tell them that we have a great school district, about all the great things that there are in Norfolk. We tell them that we have great people.
You know, I think first off, I think it's home, and it's, you know, it's a place that it's hard to describe in words, but it's something to experience and to be a part of. The culture. My wife talks about it. You know, she never envisioned that her social life on a Saturday night would be going to a high school basketball game. Now she wouldn't change it for anything. Mm-hmm. And to have, you know, 2,000 of her closest friends there on a Saturday night too, it's a special community that rallies around itself.
You know, we argue, like any community, on what our future might be, or is it this way or that way a little bit. But overall, people in the big picture are pretty well, you know, we want a strong city with good education. Those are sort of the basis. Now, sometimes there's a little bit of discussion how we get there, but I guess you read all the people that are upset with their cities throughout the state, throughout the country. It's pretty interesting that I think every office, from the school board through the city, is running unopposed this year. And what does that tell you? It tells me that people are fairly satisfied with where our community is going together. We're growing. In the last 25 years or 30 years, what the community's accomplished. You know, that, just as you said earlier, was one or two people's dream became reality, from, you know, industry to recreation facilities. Our recreation facilities are fantastic in this city right now.
Amazing and kind.
Nice words.
That's very nice.
Dick?
Home. Gotcha. I stole that one.
No, I had that one. I just used it.
Home and thankful.
I think continued growth, continued opportunities, as people bring their families here and make the decision to be a part of the Norfolk community. Not having to worry about trade-offs of what opportunities are out there in larger communities or other communities, knowing we can grow it here, and seeing what we've done over the past years, knowing where we can go in the future, knowing this community is poised to do that. It's exciting.
From college in 1976. And in that many years, to see what's happened in this community, it's I'm not sure if you went back in that time machine, we'd even recognize the community. From every area, every neighborhood. Yeah. Things are just, nothing stayed the same. And as a community, if our forefathers in Norfolk would have made the decision to not work on economic development, or to not make our schools and college the best, I don't think we'd be really happy with what we have today had that happen.